Alright, welcome back to whatever's happening here. Today's magic number, I guess, is 2700, which is what my bit rate's at? I don't know why. We were monkeying with things. Oh, I don't have the game up. We were monkeying with things earlier today, and we're definitely in a strange place. Um, let me I wanna just let's make this worse really fast. Let's just make things so much. Oh, I can't. Fuck. I was gonna set it to 60, but I can't. Okay, whatever. Um, I've never heard of BGB do the slowdown like that. That's very weird. Okay. So we had a very eventful day. Let's just go ahead and talk about that here really fast. Um, I we had a tornado. Not in my town, but pretty uncomfortably close. Today, you may have heard about the Mount Vernon tornado. Uh, it was very big. It was a good sized hook on it, and if you don't know what that means, that's the hook of a tornado on the Doppler radar is this gap between the cloud formations. Um, that the whole thing spins around, and you can kind of gauge how big a tornado is based on how visible that gap is on the radar, and it was a very substantial gap. Luckily, it was nowhere near me. Like when that was blowing through, it was almost clear uh, where I'm at, so everyone's fine here. We weren't in any danger. Um, just another close call, I guess. Um, And now I've just forgotten what else I was going to talk about. Oh yeah, I need to apologize. The last couple streams have been in 240p because I did not realize my resolution was set that horrifically chunky. We're up to a blistering 360 tonight, and maybe if we're frisky, we might bump that up to 480 once just to see if it'll work. Um, And I also don't know why last night's stream was split into two parts. I didn't do that intentionally. I think it was something to do with Twitch. Couldn't tell you. No idea. No clue. So yeah, that's kind of all we've got going on here. Um, if you have any insight into setting up OBS's encoding, please reach out. I had someone today helping me out. It was very helpful to just have someone to uh, bounce their opinions and their knowledge off of. Because normally I'm just doing this shit blind. That's all I was doing. I was playing TF2 and testing uh, encoding settings to see what worked, and we might be working with something. Um, I don't know. Again, I don't know why it's at 2700 and not like 600. That's kind of weird. Anyway, hopefully it looks nice. I've also realized, okay, so OBS on the menu has a little FPS counter, right? It tell you how many frames you've lost or how like what you're at, and it's normally a pretty good like indicator when my stream looks like absolute ass. But I've noticed like today I had TF2 going, and it was saying we were basically at 30, but the actual stream on Twitch's end was a slideshow. So I'm not entirely sure what was going on there, but again, if anyone has any insight, please reach out to let me know that. I would love to figure out how I can fix that so it's not the case, because I like my numbers to line up. Alright, so what we're doing tonight, so we've got three boys now. We've got Furrock, Vinok, and a Ravage. And I think we're going to try and get at least one more in before we go take on the Shadow Geyser. So we've got some Bartar, some Arbol. I don't really want an E-bit, and maybe a Redwalk. I think we've got enough for Redwalk. We just need some more cash. So it's just kind of a case of whatever we run into first, we'll go with. And then we're probably going to stay in the Geyser for the rest of the stream because that's going to be a pretty lengthy endeavor. Like, it's the first kind of dungeon of this game, but it's in no way, shape, or form easy. Like I've said before, every shadow monster is purpose designed, purpose built to be stronger than yours. We're gonna go down here. I want to leaf choco. And it's not like the typical beginning dungeon where it's usually like kind of easy, just to kind of ease you into understanding how things work. It's a bit of a grind, and then we're gonna be able to figure out where our boys are stacking up. You know. Yeah, ideally what I'd like to have is a Leaf Shogo. It's a very impressive, imposing thing. And then there's a Weeboo. I'm pretty sure it just lost energy in that. I like the idea that healing in this game is a matter of like restoring wounds free. You're basically giving something else your energy. Um, and that has it's a trade-off, you know. Like that's why I haven't used grow all that much, because I really don't think it gives you that much more. All right, got a couple leaf, or got one leaf shogo. Okay. I'm kind of hoping. Let's just toss Ravage out, see what happens here. At the very where like the worst thing that can happen is we're gonna lose 12 energy. Hopefully we can outpace this thing. Nope. Oh god, he's dead. Oh god. Oh, well, can't use scratch anymore. 3. Fucking 3. Jesus Christ. Oh well. Nice. Great job, Weebu. I've actually used Weebu on a few different playthroughs, and it's not a terrible little healer. It's just very, very weak. Speaking of weak, Ravage is not impressing me right now. There's definitely safety in numbers. There goes Ravage. Not only do your opponent's moves get like, or attacks get split up among the targets, but boy, I had a point there and I just completely forgot it. I don't know. I don't know. Wow, it's gone. It's gone. I'll probably think of it later. I'm very tired, by the way. Kind of having an issue right now of like So basically, my days off, start at like 5 or 6, and usually end at about 9. I believe 8 or 9 usually is when my kids finally fall asleep in bed, and then I can finally begin doing things. And begin doing things usually consists of me sitting on the couch and like relaxing for an hour, or taking a shower, or talking with my wife, or you're doing other things of that sort. Um, General housekeeping stuff, that kind of thing. Thanks, Ravage. Good job. It's an EBIT. And then like my streams I used to try and start at 9, like right on the dot, but I've just found that's not feasible. So I usually start 10, and even 10 is getting. God, why are these guys missing? Uh, 10 is kind of getting harder to do as well. You know. God, they're everywhere. We're trying to split up our attacks here. So it's more looking like 10:30, 11. And then at that point, I have maybe 2 or 3 hours, assuming I can stay awake for 2 hours, which is apparently also becoming a challenge for me. That means I usually go to bed, or I stop streaming about 1, and then I'll go to bed after another hour of like watching TV or playing something that I wanted to play while I was streaming. And then get to bed about 2 or 3, and by that point, I've got 3 hours of sleep, and then I wake up and do the whole fucking day over again. And it's beginning to it's having an impact on my cognitive abilities, I think. It's affecting my temper. So I don't know. I may have to cut it down even further. Like, 4 streams is pushing it during the week. And Sundays... That may be a baby crying. I think it's alright. Sunday's already pushing it because I come home from work and I'm already tired after working a 12-hour day of throwing fucking shit in trailers. So basically Monday through Wednesday is when I have hypothetically the most energy. And then I'm just still tired too, so I don't know. I don't really have a solution, unfortunately. It sounds like I'm complaining. I'm not really complaining. I just wish I had like some sort of option for streaming earlier in the day. Like I had a guy from Germany show up today who was happy that he caught the stream finally. Like, that's cool, but like I wish I had more time in the mornings. But there really is no options. I have no solutions. I'm just stuck doing what I do as long as I can do it. That EBIT actually hurts pretty fucking hard. Ravage is not impressing me so far. Thanks, Vilock. So this evening's discussion to stop myself from falling asleep is concerning Warframe, and I think I've talked a few times in the past on Warframe. Let's go see what I can go back now. I've got 3 Leaf Shokos. I should have enough. And I'm actually a little bit spirited about Warframe again. It's nothing. It's not the new content, but it's like it's going back to a few things of like I think there's enough content that we could have a really nice game, assuming that you could put it all together and not just leave it all isolated on islands, right? That's the big issue of Warframe right now is all the content is isolated into these little content islands that you can't really do anything with. Oh, I need a Farrak, fuck. Damn, that thing's expensive. What the hell's a timber hern? Okay. No new friend yet. I don't think Ravage is going to stay on our team particularly long, because it's just not doing very good. Okay, so one thing I've kind of come to realize with Warframe is, number one, the prime shit doesn't actually matter as much as you think it does, you know? Like, yes, they have slightly higher stats on the weapons and the frames, but it doesn't really matter. Like, the base stats of a weapon are pretty inconsequential when it comes down to, like, the mods that you're using, you know? And it's not even it's not even the no, not Farrak. Like the basic damage mods or that kind of thing. It's like if you understand the damage mechanics of like using the faction specific it's a spooky thing. Using the faction specific mods like Expel Grenier and all of that and Bleed, you know, like tripling damage up. It's like you don't even really need a damage mod. You can just focus on using Bleed, you know? That's probably gonna kill him. Oh no. That's good. Oh god, Ferox. So that was my first kind of revelation, is that it's like the things that I used to think were important aren't actually that important, you know? And then another thing I've realized is that, what was the thing? Hold on. Getting to blank again. Okay. Can I just say, I admire Vinny Vinesauce for the fact that I never hear him yawn on streams. Like, whatever time, whatever schedule he's got set up, it really seems to work for him. He never sounds tired. He never sounds exhausted on stream. That's something I wish I could do, you know? Oh, thank God. Should be getting a new skill here. No. Oh boy, what was the fucking thing? Primes don't really matter. Mods don't work the way you think they do. Oh, and then the whole issue of like, what is a viable build for a frame, it's like a lot of people got very bored of Warframe and they stopped playing. And you watch like some of those last streams they did, and they have a Prime Warframe with the Ignis Wraith flamethrower, and they're just like they have this super duper high speed setup, and they're just walking through hallways, right, killing everything. And it's like it kind of makes sense that you're bored out of your mind. There's no real challenge anymore at that point. So the nice thing about Warframe is, for one thing, it's not a game that's set up difficulty-wise properly. Um, like it's not a game that it like the enemy AI ramps up or they get new skills or behaviors at high difficulties. They just get higher numbers, which isn't the best way of handling that. Um, but what it does mean is that you can actually tailor your experience to those numbers. You don't necessarily have to have the super high speed bullshit if you just want to use nothing, and that's kind of what I've kind of been doing lately is like I'll take off all of the shield mods and all of the health mods and all of the ability mods and just kind of run around with like a fucking loot detector or something, or a fucking pick, literally nothing making me, whoa, what the fuck, making me more survival. I don't know why it blew out there. That's weird. I think I need to be letting these guys show up. We're only going to do one more leaf choco, and then I'm going to find a different spot to go farm, because these are pretty weak. Not getting a lot of money out of these. So my idea is this refit where it basically kind of a similar idea to what I want to do with like Pokemon Red is like remove stats as a concept. The more numbers you remove, the more kind of mystery you're giving back to the game is my philosophy. I really should be not killing these things immediately. And by removing what the mods do and how they affect your stats, you're now more focused on the combat aspect of the gameplay, because you're trying to figure out what works and what doesn't, and all that kind of good stuff. And now it's becoming more of a puzzle again, right? I don't really know what I would have in lieu of that, because there'd have to be something in place, you know. I was thinking maybe like, you remember how in Dead Space you had this you had the player's HUD was basically on the character's back, and you had like a little health meter and a few different like counters, and you didn't really have anything on your screen. You just had whatever your character could see, which was an ingenious idea, And I really like that, and that's something that you can easily get away with in Warframe, because there's lots of little bells and whistles and lights on the frames themselves. And then like the new war and all of these new content things, they've all kind of been pointing to a more dynamic, more cinematic combat style than the typical like just jankarama of the Warframe farm system. And I would really love to see that. I would love to have enemies able to like counter your melee and knock you down and put you in a vulnerable state and that kind of thing. Like really give them like opportunities where you're not just like parkour, fucking flying through the air, murdering everything. You're like actually getting stopped and thrown around. You know, like you get into the higher level play stuff, and really it's never the actual enemies that are the threat. It's the things that can like knock you over. You know, like with a harpoon gun or something, and then you're in danger. You know, that kind of stuff. Um, I would make sure like I'd probably revise the weapons system so that there is no direct upgrades, but there's side grades, like a lot like how TF2 functions. We'd be trading off things. How much did I get for that? God, this Choco does not want to show up. So like if you have like say the Skana and then like trying to remember variants, the Prisma Skana, you know, like they would function different ways so that if you still wanted to use your Skana, you wouldn't be technically losing anything. On paper anyway. And again, I say that because it's not really like you're losing anything to begin with. You can keep your Skana for the whole fucking game if you wanted to. You know, you just have to mod it properly. But I really want to emphasize I would want to emphasize that the warframe you start with, the equipment you start with, the things that you enjoy using are not obsolete or they're not unviable for whatever you're doing with them, you know? And that is kind of harder in Warframe because you have enemies with like different type resistances and they do different kinds of damage and they have different behaviors based on their faction. So it is harder to have more of a generalist build where you're prompted to explore ideas and alternatives to those things, but it's harder if you just want to use like one gun, you know. And I think one of the big failings of Warframe, and it's a super easy fix, it's ammo. One of the things that could really affect like faction specific weaponry, like the Grenier Gricata or the Corpus Flux Rifle, is if you kill an enemy or if you open a locker, you get ammo. And most of the time, like if you don't have carrier or anything, like any mods that affect the ammunition you get, sometimes you get the stuff you need, sometimes you don't. Very rarely are you ever going to actually run out of ammo, right? You have to be either going through a ton of ammo, like with an automatic weapon, or you have to be getting really unlucky, like a bow or a sniper rifle, where you're just not getting the right kind of ammo you need. And both of those situations can happen if you're not careful. There's a leaf choker, finally. But the big thing is like just disable the drops of ammunition, and suddenly now you've got a resource that needs to be managed. You know, it's no longer you can run through the entire fucking level with the Ignis Wraith because you've only got like 300 or whatever fuel unit things. There we go. And Ravage leveled up. Excellent. Alright, let's get out of here. Go somewhere else and listen to some different music. Let's go to the swamp. That was weird. Um, so it puts an emphasis on one, if you know you're going to be in like a Grenier specific area, you can take Grenier weapons, and hey, guess what? The ammunition that they're dropping, you can use in your gun, you know? Like if they've got Hins or Grakatas or um, fucking what Grax, is that the pistol? You can use those, right? Um, but if you take like Tenno-centric weapons, Tenno-specific weapons like throwing knives, you know, they're not going to have fucking throwing knives hanging around for you, you know. Like you could do probably something like Metal Gear, like the Phantom Pain would do, is you don't have to use the enemy's weapons, but they're not going to have ammo for the ones you do bring. So you need to have an ammo drop supplied to you, you know, that kind of thing. Um, and like if you're going to use the little mini crossbow gun, or the throwing knives, or the bolto, you know, that uses some kind of exotic weaponry. You're gonna need to have like a consumable item where a Tenno agent, you know, drops you off a little supply cache and you can rearm, that kind of thing. It also puts a lot of emphasis on your melee weapons, which is what you should already have, or your abilities too. Those should be your emphasis anyway, because you're a warframe, you know, that's your bread and butter is melee and weird fucking infested ghost magic or whatever. Um, why is this muted now? Oh, I turned it down, I guess. Let's find out. So I think that would really help change up the dynamic more so than anything else. Just forcing you to not only uh, be more aware of what the enemies are doing, because ideally, like even the most basic enemy, like in Dark Souls, like even the most basic enemy um, has the chance to just completely fucking body you, you know. Um, and like, there's a lot of things like individual units need to be fucking tweaked, you know. Like we had Call get to strut his stuff and be a super killer badass, um, but every fucking Lancer plays the exact same, and like they all just like they hop behind some cover and then they shoot that little absolutely pathetic sounding Grakata. Like you don't even like. Not only are you not aware, because usually they aren't hitting you or doing any damage to you, but you have no like. There's no context clues for rounds impacting near you. There's no tracers. There's no actual fucking gunfire. It sounds like a goddamn, like, not even a nail gun. And it's just kind of pithy, you know. But like, they have a machine gun. They have a small, compact submachine gun that is also, at the same time, fucking huge for any other race that isn't Grenier. And like, oh my god, say you got in close and you weren't paying attention and they get a drop on you, like sock you, knock you to the ground, and then just empty the rest of the clip into your face, like that one unique mod for the Grakata can do. Um, I have my Prismatic account. I haven't played with that thing in a fucking long time. But there's a mod who just like doubles the fire rate, basically empties the entire magazine in a second, um, which is fun. You know, it's more like an eye divine cybermancy kind of weapon there, but you know, like something like that. You know, give each enemy some sort of little hidden threat thing. You know, Like Butchers, I think, had one for a long time. Like they can just randomly deal a huge crit damage to you or something with their cleaver, which is an interesting idea. I like that idea. Was that, and then the stealth desperately needs a fucking rework. Stealth actually needs to be uh, present, I guess, and I'm not talking like cloaked or in the fucking void dimension. Like I'm talking actual fucking stealth. Like you can tell from the tell from the enemy's position where they're looking, where their attention is, what they're listening for, how like what level of alert they're on, um, how you can distract them, what their protocol is for when they do think there's someone there, that kind of thing. Like Phantom Pain, really good game for that. Not only do they show, fuck, I might kill this thing. Not only do they show uh, how the enemies react, but also how they react if it's a false alarm. You can make the command post become suspicious that these guys are either fucking around with them or like they're drunk on the job or something. Silly shit. Where you can sabotage their equipment and make it harder for them to communicate, or like all those really fun things that Warframe just doesn't fucking explore because what the fuck is he going on? Because the enemy basically is always cheating and knows your position on the map regardless of what you're doing or where you are. And really the only flag that's not being activated is their aggression flag. Like the enemy is just going to show up at your location at all times because that's how they spawn. And it's kind of just a janky piece of shit in that regard. And I wish they would fucking, not be the case, And then, of course, like the Infested really need a fucking rework because they are either piss easy or just all over you. The Sentients, I don't know, they need something. And then there's these new guys, I don't know what the fuck their deal is. They're kind of cool. But they're also just kind of big fucking legs and shit. It's like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with this. But I see like the Corpus, the Grenier. Those are the two factions that need the biggest rework because they're the most present in the beginning of the game. And then there needs to be like some sort of like either 3 or 4 more factions. Like there needs to be a generic, I wouldn't call it human, but like settler, like civilians. There needs to be a civilian faction that's not like either Grenier or Corpus. Like there used to be settlers, I guess, but now they're not anymore. But they need to come back. That's one thing. And then, oh god, about her. Oh no. Let's get Farak out here. So you fight the Weeboo. You fight the Wasp Marine. Hopefully someone survives. Oh no. We're taking casualties. There needs to be like a generic pirate faction too. Like someone that's not Corpus, maybe Corpus supplied. Like someone needs to be buying their goddamn fucking generic weapons that apparently no one has. And that would also kind of like excuse the case of like, it's like there is fucking only the Warframes are using like Lexes and the most generic of things like Brattons and Lexes and all that crap. It's like these pirates have this shit too because these are basically like being crapped out on a local level just about everywhere. So those are the few things that I think would change overall, but then also have like this overarching narrative shift. And the way I see it, like how the alert system was kind of left redundant when the Nightwave system came out and they removed it. I feel like missions are kind of redundant at this point too. So what I see is we've got railjacks, we've got drop ships, and we've got open worlds and like Nexus hubs, like safe houses. There should be no reason that you don't start, instead of being in the orbiter all the time, you should be on a planet in a hub world. Um, and then if you want to leave and go somewhere, you can either board a dropship and stay on the planet and go to another kind of operation post and do missions from there, or get on a railjack, exit the planet's orbit, and then you're doing like a space mission or three. Like you're either jumping through the void, which has its own fun, or you are battling space forces on the outskirts of planets until you can land. And then once you get to the new planet, then you have to either you have to try and land, or your ship crashes. I think we finally have enough for a new guy. Yeah, we do. And lost my train of thought. Then you can either go to the new hub area, like say you're going from Earth, you'd start on Cetus, you would leave, go through the solar relay, which would be like 2 or 3 railjack space fights, and then you would land in Fortuna, and you would begin doing operations on Venus from Fortuna or from whatever little operations post they have there. So essentially, you would never be basically that solar system map that you see would largely be redundant, and you wouldn't actually see it unless you're on like a fucking relay, using their navigation terminal, which is something that is like, if you don't go and look for that, you would completely forget it exists. And in that regard, there would be no missions, because you would basically be going from one mission to another mission to another mission immediately, and there'd also be no opportunities to change your equipment. What you leave the hub with, you're basically stuck with, unless there's I guess an option on the railjack. You would be stuck with what you had when you left. And now I know what you're thinking. It's like, okay, I just started the game. I don't have a railjack yet. Well, one, players could probably just run missions going to and from different places. They would be running their own railjacks, or the clans would be running their railjacks. And two, there's no reason why we can't have computer-operated Tenno railjacks. The big hiccup here right now is because of the way the story's written. And it's unfortunate because you, as far as I know, you are the one Tenno. There's no other Tenno. You're the guy. You have the one railjack, you have the one operator. You kill the one Worm Queen. It's like everything that you've been doing has been entirely stuck in your adventure, and that doesn't really suit the kind of idea I'm having here, because in order for it to work, there has to be multiple fucking lots of Tenno, lots of Warframes. So what I'm kind of thinking of is something, either people are excavating Warframes from cryopods, like you do the excavations or the rescues or those kind of things, or the defenses when you find one. And that's how players begin. And like they all just happen to somehow be on Earth, um, or excuse me, um, or something is ejecting them from the void into Earth's orbit, and they're just kind of coming down, and then everyone is trying to scramble and get them. And then you have the whole wake up Tenno, and you're the Warframe, and you don't know you're an operator yet. But instead of like being the super mystical whatever Tenno, you're just you're a frame, you know. And the frames would just kind of be like this kind of Ronin class, like of like wandering soldiers, who don't really have a real job or a real any fealty. So they can either be deities or demigods, or warlords, or conquerors or rulers. They can be vagabonds, they can be thieves, they can be murderers, they can be massacres. Um, they can work for the Grineer, they can work for the Corpus, they can be taken apart by the Corpus, they can be executed by the Grineer, they can be with the Infested, they can be in the Void, they can be like anywhere. Like they're not plentiful, right? Because there weren't many Warframes to begin with, but there's still enough of them that they're pretty well spread out in the universe, and just kind of doing their own thing, you know. And then the Tenno would be the organization that is like kind of keeping tabs on the Warframes. And when one is showing particular affinity for the Tenno way, then they get pulled into the organization, you know. They're not necessarily constantly benevolent, you know. They're pretty self-serving, and they're not necessarily always aligned to the needs of like the settlers or the human race or whatever the fuck the civilians. Um, and they're not against using them for their own ends, but they tend to try and keep a good they try and keep a good reputation because they rely on civilian support for their goals. You know, they're using their hubs, those safe houses, as their operation points. So you wouldn't immediately be working for the Lotus. You would like say you wake up on Earth, you'd have to get away from the Grineer, and then someone would get you to Cetus, and you'd start working for fucking what's this shit? You know, doing a few things for him, and then you'd have to start trying to do like, just I don't know, explore, I guess. You know, like the option to leave Earth would be there, and then you would board Baby's first railjack and kind of go through the space missions and how they work. And like they would basically be like, we win regardless of what happens. Like it's kind of on rails. It's a guaranteed success, but there'd still be things happening that you'd have to help out with the ship with, you know. Like you wouldn't be expected to pilot the ship. You would be one of the crewmen, firing the guns off the side, and you kind of get to like tink with each of the places or each of the positions. Then you kind of get a taste of what the Void's doing and how spooky scary it is. And then you kind of like see how another planet's operating and what their interpretations, what the Solaris United think of the Tenno. You know, like maybe Kanzu has different ideas because he's aligned more heavily to the Tenno and the Quills and all of that. So he's pretty chill, but like maybe what's her face is like not only super suspicious, like she doesn't want fucking Tenno or Warframes in Fortuna because, you know, fucking what's his face can show up. And it's like, oh, you're harboring criminals. Haha, I'm gonna shut this place down and jar everybody. You know, like anyway, that's my idea. And like the whole sequence of leaving Cetus to getting to Fortuna, that would be one big experience, you know. Not several missions cut up that you kind of going back and forth, but one big thing. And the one big thing has been shown to be possible. They did a seamless transition from cutscene right into a fucking railjack fight into a fucking mission into a fucking planet with the new war. They showed it can be done. It just needs to be the standard rather than the exception, in my opinion. So anyway, that's my ideas on Warframe right now. And I'd like to I'm actually kind of intrigued. Yes, let's make a Choco. I'm kind of want to get back in and play a little bit more. Um, Not to do the farms, but kind of see what the content's looking like, you know? Because there's a bunch of things I didn't even fucking touch on. Here's my boy. He's my boy. He's my baby boy. Let's give him. Which one? I think the Ravage Foot. So that's 30, and then this drops it to 0. Alright, let's go save, and then we can go fuck around in the geyser for a little bit. But the whole idea is like, Warframe has a great story. Warframe has a great setting. They've been doing a lot of really cool things with it. It's one of the few, like, how many fucking MMOs out there you can run a crewed spaceship, and that's not even the main focus, right? Like, there's so many things that you can do in Warframe, but so many things are reliant on you doing the farming, and the farming should not be the main focus of the game, you know? That's why I was pretty pissed off that the wall shit in the fucking lab and all the Entrati shit was just another fucking open world with another fucking currency and loyalty system. You know, it's like, it's the exact same shit we just got for the last 3 different updates. Only it fucking blows, you know? Like, that's not what I want to do. Alright, let's go in the Shadow Geyser. This place is very cool. I love this music. Yeah, in here now it's more acting like a cave. In Pokemon, where you're getting random encounters again. I really want a Shadow Vinoc. This guy's neat. Too bad you can never actually do anything with anyone. Like, even though we get the crystals for these guys, I don't think we can ever actually do anything with them. Maybe it's only certain guys that have that whole weakness and thing going on with them. I never realized that's a mouth up there, isn't it? That's really cool. This place is so cool. Like, I'm already finding like all these little details on things I never noticed before. Ah, Ravage. I don't know if we need to summon Frock, but we'll go ahead and do it anyway. It doesn't really hurt us, especially if it doesn't take any damage or anything. If we don't use our abilities, and we don't take any damage, we're just getting the energy back. And we're getting some for defeating, and we're leveling up. Okay. If you've ever seen Super Robot Monkey Force Hyper Team Go, or whatever it is, like, I get a lot of vibes from that show and the stuff in here. Kind of like goopy death, but also sci-fi. I don't really know what you'd call that aesthetic. I'll get fucking punched. That's what I call it. Oh, I love the Hookwing. Like, some of these guys are, like, just generic Shadow versions, like Shadow Vinok. But also, there's, like, just, like, bugs, you know? Okay, that's gonna fucking hurt. Yeah. Oh, it's not that bad. We might be over leveled, I don't know. It's kind of weird since we just made, Jogo. However, my insane rambling about Warframe worked, though, because now we're at almost an hour, and I'm not tired at all. Watching Fish's play through Dark Souls 2, and he's not having a good time. I could probably stand to take the equipment off of Farrak and Vinok and give it to Ravage and Chogo. Vile. Vile, you go. Let's try using Leaf. Oh, here's some really interesting stuff. Oh, I forgot they're weak too. Oh god, there's many of them. So something really cool is I like to peruse the Internet Archive and find various things. So last night I found, well, not last. Was it last? No, the first night we started this. I found the actual page from the Nintendo Power that talked about the the sequel to this game that never came out, right? Um, and then one of the big things, I had Nintendo Power for a long time, right? Now, you know, it was baby's first game magazine, back when game magazines were actually something to read. Um, and then after a while, I picked up Game Informer and then EGM, and that's pretty much where I stopped reading um, game magazines. But way before I even picked up EGM, me and my dad, my sister, and all of us, we went camping once, and we had stopped at like a local Walmart or something to pick up supplies, and he decided he was going to let us get a magazine or a book or something so that we can read while we were camping, right? Which is a smart idea. And I picked out this EGM magazine. I'd never heard of it before. It looked like there's video games. Like it was a GameCube on it on the cover, right? Um, and I remember the big distinction thing was it covered E3, and I'd never even heard of E3 before. So I remember there was a big article about Metal Gear Solid 2 because this was before that came out, and there was footage of Metroid Prime. Or no, I'm sorry, not Metroid Prime. Metroid Fusion. There was like the first looks, and there was like that's where I found, or where I'd first heard of Kingdom Hearts, and I saw the screenshots. And for the longest time, I could not find, because I lost all this a long time ago. We're going towards 10 years now. I've lost those magazines, been gone, and I couldn't find it. You know, But I was just perusing, and I actually found um, that edition. So I've gone through and read it again, and it's really cool. Like it piqued a lot of fucking God, we're hemorrhaging fucking energy here. A lot of things I'd forgotten about. Wait, what's wrong? Fuck. Like I had completely forgotten that's where I saw the first screenshots of Metroid Fusion and Kingdom Hearts. You know, I just kind of remembered vaguely that I had read something somewhere and seen those screenshots. I was like, oh, that looks weird. Um, and the really funny thing, a long time ago, I actually wrote into Nintendo Power because I had finished Metroid Fusion. I was like, at the very end of the game, I was like, all right, we're gonna finish up the space station, and then I'm gonna go to the planet, and we're gonna run around the planet. And then the game ended. I was like, well, wait a minute. I don't remember. Like, I remember there being screenshots of more of this. So where's the rest of it? All right. And so I wrote to them and asked them, hey, I played the game, but I didn't see this area. Did I miss something? And they said, no, that was probably you're looking at beta um, screenshots that never made it into the game. And that's exactly what it was. Yeah, that's my little story. We can do a showcase of that edition sometime. That'd be really fun. Because back when game journals actually did something worth a shit, um, there's a lot of really cool information that would come out concerning games. Um, I also found the editions that focused on this game more specifically. I found the review Nintendo Power gave it. They called it shallow for a role-playing game. I think it's neat as I playing it. Um, I was gonna show that off tonight, but I didn't get around. I need to get it on a Google Drive off my phone so I can bring it up here. But you can see by how much we're hemorrhaging, we're either going to have to start using some of our recovery items to get some energy back, or we're going to have to go back to back to town. Which is fine. Honestly, I was expecting to have to replace Raj, but it's not doing terribly. The problem is it's not really doing anything different from what some of the other things can do. I'm kind of thinking we might do this for another half hour. I don't expect to actually get through. Oh man, we're in trouble. The entirety of this game, or of the. I don't expect to finish this tonight, That'll probably be tomorrow night or even next week. Um, but I was tinkering again with Team Fortress 2 quite a bit today, and I'd like to see if I actually managed to get things back to where they were that one time that everything was basically running like a drum. All but, a little bit shittily. Yeah, we're in a bit of a pickle here. Okay, never mind. We might be okay. But I don't know if we should resummon. Oh yeah, we're definitely not resummoning. Um, we're getting dangerously low on energy. Again, I really find the energy balancing mechanics in this game be fascinating. It's a very simple system, but it's like it adds a lot of complexity. Like having four monsters is a very safe option, right? Um, I love the skulls like in the wall here. Um, because safety numbers, again, you can divide up targets. Uh, you can divide up the damage that everyone's taking. It's a lot easier to manage, but at the same time, you're also putting yourself at more of a risk because you're burning through more energy. So it may not even be viable to have uh, four. Two or three might be a better option. You know. Like here, we may not actually want to be. I don't think we've been trying to throw to get more of them to summon or show up, but I think we're definitely. It's in our best interest to kill these as fast as possible now. Because the more of them that show up, the more energy we're bleeding out. And lo and behold, I have immediately stopped talking and begun dozing off again. It's amazing. It's like fucking clockwork. Oops. I touched the mouse pad. There we go. Level ups really are nice because they completely restore your energy, which is exploitable. I actually kind of liked how prequel really like leaned heavily into that mechanic of like what was the other one? Oh, the spider Insekai manga. Whenever she would like level up, she would like her health would get reset. So she started really playing into that, and, like calculating out when she would like be close or how she could use that to her advantage. It's a really neat mechanic. Probably nothing we're gonna see in this game though. I'm not a clever man. And honestly, because Tony gets all his energy back every time he levels up, there's honestly an argument to be made for being extremely aggressive and continuing to push in, even when you're getting close to having no energy. If you can get that level up, you're pretty much golden and you're not losing any fucking progress. God, it's fucking nuts. I want to play TF2 tonight, and I also want to play Warframe, and I have no time for all of those. Hell, I don't even have time for this. down 15 or down 14. Yeah, it's gonna get hard to stay awake. Oh shit. We actually may be doing the boss fight. Oh no, never mind. I thought there was a second area in here. Yeah, I don't know why I can only make it an hour these days. It's getting to be a really bad habit. It might just be I'm up too late, did too much, too tired, you know? That's nice. It's a good chunk of defense. That'll help keep them alive longer. That's for sure. Alright, let's see how much that defense does. Nothing, because that was using resistance. Fantastic. My apes for nothing. Damn it, did it again. Actually, let's try this leaf. See how that does now. What we really want in here is resistance. think. Not entirely sure how the combat mechanics are. 7. Ravage cleaning up. Okay, so even if they die, they still get experience. That's nice. And we leveled up. Awesome. Right, who level up? Fuck. Okay, you know, we're just gonna risk it for the brisket. Use the... Oh. Can I do it again? Oops. Nope. Put me in the wrong place. That's alright, we'll take a walk back. Hopefully this video looks a lot better than the 240. Might do just the quickest little test to see if I can get it up to 480 really fast. And if that doesn't work, it doesn't work, you know. But it's 12 o'clock my time, so that means I can get a little bit of fun in. Of course, this was fun, you know what I mean, but a little bit of doohickiness. We can make our somebody. Let's see what we got left. It's funny every time, like, I talk about how tired I am, but then, like, I get off and I'm immediately okay. It's fucking stupid. Don't have enough for a bot tower. I thought Vinok was the highest one. I guess not. We can make a road bot. Alright. And with that, I'm going to wrap up tonight. An hour and a half. Should be good. I hope it didn't split the streams again. Tomorrow, we're going to try and finish up the geyser. We've got our new boy here. Our new boy. Expedient Lucky. That's about all I know about him. Yeah, right off the bat, he's our fastest one. Okay. And we shall continue.